Hey, what's up, fam? Welcome to Ask to My Aunts.
where we challenge you to stop playing and start pushing.
This right here is my pushing through wife, y'all.
And this right here, this is my partner in crime.
Why we gotta be partners in crime?
My partner in doing time.
Nah, why can't we be partners in creation?
We are, but a lot of times we gotta do some time. We gotta put in some work. And
Okay.
you're my partner in that.
I
All
can
right,
accept
y'all. You can accept that?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to get to part 3 of this question that came in some time ago. I'm trying to get to it. She starts part 3 with my saving grace. Just a little caveat, if you have not heard part 1 or part 2, click below and go look at that first and then come to part 3. All right, my saving grace. After prayer and much conviction, I sought out one of my other good friends, a godly woman that lives her life according to the word. I confessed my sins to her and explained what I was going through, and she was very understanding and referred me right to the word of God. She even prayed with me. She never judged me, and she was honest with me. She expressed to me that I was headed in a danger zone. She told me about one of her other friends that was in a similar situation. They agreed to be a part of that lifestyle, and their marriage was ruined forever. She gave me scriptures to refer to and meditate on day and night. That same night, another girlfriend of mine invited me to her church that next day. I went to the service, and I'm grateful I did. The word was just for me. God will give us a way of escape. I knew I was headed down a path of destruction. My husband became angry with me after realizing I had a change of mind. His words to me were, "You have been saved a long time, and this lifestyle has been a part of you for a long time. And you mean to tell me you're just this newfound woman overnight?" I was literally fighting the devil himself. Every time my husband would bring the issue up, I went straight for the word. I was in a battle. Finally, he stopped bringing it up, but our relationship changed forever. His heart is hardened toward me. Our relationship was already rocky prior to these last issues, so this was basically the icing on the cake. Whenever there was a disagreement about something, he would always end with, "Well, maybe I should just leave. Besides, it doesn't help that we have our issues that won't go away." This comment lets me know that he has not forgotten and he has not forgiven me. And it's obvious he doesn't trust me. I'm still hurt and confused because I have been thinking what the devil meant for harm, God will turn around for me for good. I'm not seeing any good come out of this. We are barely existing in this relationship. To make matters worse, the enemy will bring gay topics or comments up in my household. If it's through TV, like the news, questions the kids may have, a sitcom, a movie, he will not let my husband forget. When she says he, she's talking about the enemy, the devil. It makes me extremely uncomfortable. I'm afraid of talking to other women because I'm worried about what he may think. I don't have any friends come over or do things with them. He thinks all of my friends are suspect. My best friend and I no longer talk. I look at romance movies or TV shows and I cry. When I see couples that are in love and how they handle each other, or when I see other women hanging with their friends having a good time, and the husbands are in another room hanging out and everybody's having a great time, I can't help but to think my life should be like that. I feel like the devil has stolen so much from me. Where is the good in all of this? I don't see it. We've had tons of issues in our 15 years of marriage. The good times can be counted on one hand. I am weak. I am an emotional wreck. I am insecure. I am vulnerable. I feel unloved, unappreciated, etc. I have made several mistakes in my life. However, I have come to God many, many times seeking His forgiveness, admitting my faults and my issues, my idols, my strongholds, everything. I take it to the throne of grace before Him, yet no real deliverance, yet no change in my husband. I've been trying to say that giving up is not an option, but honestly, sometimes giving up looks better than what I'm going through now. God couldn't possibly want this for my life. I am not living. Before you ask, my husband and I do belong to a word-teaching church. It's a great church. However, it's a mega church. At times, I don't feel connected. We have belonged to this church over 10 years, and my husband doesn't want to leave. I, on the other hand, is reaching, this is what it says, I think she's saying, is reaching for another level in Christ, and my church is not providing this at this time. I don't want to be separate, I don't want to be at separate churches, so I watch other churches online where the Spirit of the Lord is high. I receive fulfillment from TV and attend our church with him on Sunday. We have done Christian therapy and counseling twice before. Even though a lot has happened since we've gone to counseling, I don't think he will be willing to go again. His heart has hardened toward me. At this time, I don't believe he thinks that lifestyle is wrong, especially if he reaps the benefits. It's a double standard for sure. Just the other day, the news was talking about gay marriage, and my daughter asked him, "Dad, isn't being gay a sin?" He told her, "Well, it depends on how you look at it." With a very confused look on my face, I'm thinking, really? I didn't comment only because I just didn't want to go back down that road with him. Satan makes sure that topic is never far. I really need help. My best friend and I do not talk anymore. I don't go out anywhere or hang with friends. I do nothing. This isn't living. Do I reconcile with my best friend, or do I let that friendship die? How do I handle all other relationships? Do I just not have any friends because of how he feels or the thoughts he has? Looking for freedom. My. Woo! It got really real towards the end, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
You know where to start?
A line stood out to me, my sister. I'm trying to go back and find it. Here it is. You said, "I am weak. I am an emotional wreck. I am insecure. I am vulnerable. I feel unloved and unappreciated." I'm going to say it again. This is what you said. I am weak. I am an emotional wreck. I am insecure. I am vulnerable. I feel unloved and unappreciated. I think it's always important to be clear about what you feel. I think it's always important to take a minute to get still and really get in touch with your feelings, because our feelings can tell us so much. But I also think that there's a fine line between understanding what we feel and totally immersing ourselves in those feelings, identifying those feelings as ourselves, and taking those feelings on as an identity. And for some reason, the energy that I felt while reading this letter has been one where you are so deeply entrenched in this space that it's really difficult for you to see yourself, your relationship, your journey any differently than you're seeing it right now. Because you said it, I am a wreck, I am vulnerable, I am this. But honey, what it is you say out of your mouth, and I know you've heard this before, what you say is what you create. So everything that you're experiencing, you're reinforcing by continuing to identify with and uphold this identity of being broken. Yes, you've been through some things, and yes, you're going through some stuff, but it's not who you are. These are just the circumstances. This is just the context in which you have the opportunity to grow and go to another level. And if you see it as that, if you see it as the current challenge, the current level that you need to transcend so that you can continue to evolve spiritually, which seems to be really important to you, then you put it in proper perspective, and you don't see it as this place that you live in that is you. This is not you. So that's the first thing that came to mind for me. The second thing is this, and then I'm gonna let you speak on it. You all haven't resolved this. You and your husband have not resolved this issue. And so many times in our relationships, there are issues where we bump heads, we cannot come to some sort of consensus, and one or both persons retreat at some point and decide to just let it die out, let it fizzle out, but it never totally dies. It's always under the surface. And so like you said, this issue of being gay, whether it's a sin, whether it's not, that kind of a thing. It's coming up in movies, and your daughter's asking, and it's just always there. When you face the issue, it disappears. What you resist continues to come for you. And so what y'all need to do is y'all need to face this thing. You need to sit down and talk about it. It seems that, your perspective is that your husband, he ain't right with you. You say his heart is hardened towards you. Right? Because you're not in the place where he is, and you all seem to be in two different places. And so you've got to get real clear about what your non-negotiables are, where you stand, what your faith tells you, what you believe. I also think it's very interesting that you talked about the fact that your relationship wasn't really all that to begin with. I mean, you know what she basically said? You know, y'all had a lot of issues anyway, but the one that you focused on the most is this one. So this is really, in terms of this relationship that you have with your husband or that you don't have, it doesn't appear to me that this is really about this whole same-sex attraction issue or the fact that you all are on different pages with that. That appears to be a small piece of a huge problem, which is a disconnect between the two of you. Are you all, you understand what it means to be equally yoked. You understand what it means to be of the same mind. Are you all even on the same playing field? You know, what's that disconnect about? You all have a lot to talk about that goes above and beyond the subject matter for this. And so what I would challenge you to do is to say, you know, this is what I want. This is the kind of marriage I want. This is the kind of relationship that I want. And this is the kind of energy I want in my life. And so, husband, I want us to start over, and we got to figure out how to put all the mess on the table and figure out where we went wrong, how things went wrong, and what we need to do to get it right. Is that an easy process? No. Is it a little complex? Uh-huh. But that's what you need to do. And if he's not willing to do that, if he's not wanting to do that, now you have something to consider for yourself. Because once you establish those non-negotiables, once you establish some standards and then stand by them, then you have something to move and act on. What will be required is courage at that point. But you got to be able to say, this is what I want, this is where I want to go. Either he going to roll with you, not necessarily in the same direction, and he doesn't have to agree with you on everything. But there does need to be agreement on the fact that our relationship is not what we want it to be. We want to go to another level. We need to figure out what's going to be the medium that we use to do that. And we need to be in agreement that we're going to work on it together. You got to be able to at least come to agreement on that. And if that's not happening, well, then, you know, you got some stuff to sit with yourself and figure out what you're going to do.
I think that one of the main things that my wife spoke about that I think you really need to sit with and internalize is the fact that it really requires courage for you to really take your relationship and also take yourself to the next level. What I'm getting from this letter is insecurity, not just from you, but also from your husband. And the reason why I say that is because, I mean, really and truthfully, your husband was betrayed in this marriage in the sense that you did have an affair. It was a same-sex affair.
I forgot about that. That was why they were married?
Yeah. You know, so, you know, he questions your level of commitment to the relationship, and as a result of your behavior, he's questioning whether or not, this relationship is really secure, whether or not you're really in it.
You want him.
And, whether or not you really want him. So what tends to happen is that whenever we're grappling with insecurities or fear, one way that we cope with that, and pay attention to this too, is that we might possibly eroticize the fear. So we eroticize the fear, and it's not to say that he didn't have the desire for two women to be in a bed with him prior to you all getting married and knowing about your experience with this woman. But if he's fearful of you stepping outside of your relationship and being with another woman, a way that he might possibly cope with that fear is to eroticize the fear and say, I want you to be with another woman, because what that does is that if I can control the situation, then it takes away the fear and it reduces it. It reduces my anxiety because I'm now in control of the situation and I don't have to worry about you cheating because you're doing what I've given you permission to do. So just keep that in mind. But that's coming from a space of insecurity because he questions your level of commitment to him. So just be very mindful of that. In addition to that, your own sense of insecurity. Just keep in mind that, as you're walking this walk, my wife has mentioned in the previous letters that, when she responded to the previous letters, that you want to make sure that you're looking inside of yourself and being honest with who you are. Now, I understand that you're on this Christian path and you're walking this walk and you're saying that Satan is bringing things up to test you, and your husband keeps on bringing things up to challenge you, and things keep on popping up. But I just want you to be honest with yourself and really come to grips with who you are, where you are, why you are where you are, and whether or not the path that you're going down is the path that you need to be going down.
And I want to say this, a lot of times we talk about the enemy and we talk about the devil. When I say we, I'm talking about folks in the Christian context, are doing this, but to me, or the devil is bringing this to me, or trying to get me, or whatever. But the enemy as a very prolific minister, has said many, many times, and I've heard him say it, is in me.
Mm-hmm.
In me,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so whatever it is that is popping up, nothing just pops up.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is coming to the forefront for you, it is coming up because it is in you.
Mm-hmm.
We create our reality.
Mm-hmm.
What you see around you and what you see in your world is a reflection of what's going on inside, whether it's conscious or it's subconscious. So again, there's unresolved stuff that not only sits in the marriage, but that sits deep within you.
Mm-hmm.
So do the work that you need to do so that you can understand yourself, all of who you are. Embrace all of who you are. Establish the standards for your life based on what you believe. But understand that everything that's coming up and around you is your own creation.
Mm-hmm.
Trust that.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So again, we just encourage you to keep on moving forward. In terms of looking at self, and again, try to reinforce your relationship with impressing upon your husband the fact that you are committed to this relationship. You are committed to this marriage, but don't commit to the relationship or to the marriage to your own detriment. I think that if you find yourself in a situation where you're being controlled and it's not productive or it's not healthy for you to be in this relationship, then we're not advocates of staying in unhealthy relationships. But what we are is advocates of being in healthy relationships and understanding self so that you can grow yourself up, so that you can mature yourself and arrive at a more healthy place in who you are.
But there's one thing that you must do in order to go to the next level in your life and in your marriage. Just one thing. You have to stop playing and start pushing.
And look, check this out, y'all. I'm gonna tell you how we pushing through this because we're actually in the hospital. Our son just had surgery. We're in the hospital bathroom doing this video. So it's no excuses for any of you all out there to, if you have a dream, if you have a desire to do something, to just get it done.
Mm-hmm.
It's 11:51 at night. We in the bathroom. Now that I think I'm hold up. And we got a table in the bathroom.
Well, bring
it. We got a
TMI.
We got the computer propped up on a suitcase.
Yeah, you got the show hooked up right now, I must say.
Well, we getting it in, y'all. For y'all, we getting it in.